The whole disaster really began on Dragon Gate Mountain, with the Crown Prince about to get beaten like a drum. You see, the Crown Prince had proudly dragged the old Emperor up a freezing mountain to show him a treasure. Instead, what the Emperor saw was a ridiculous house completely covered in glittering pearls and jewels. The old Emperor slowly picked up a thick tree branch. The Crown Prince, who already had one crippled leg, immediately realized running was not an option. The Emperor grinned like a villain in a stage play. Gao Xian, it's been a while since I beat you, and now you're out here acting like a tyrant, exploiting the people? He pointed at the jewel house. Tell me, how many families did you ruin to gather all this? The Crown Prince almost cried. Father, I swear I don't know anything about this. Oh, of course you don't, the Emperor snorted. You just ordered your servants to do the looting and happily enjoyed the results. The prince panicked and hid behind Prime Minister Do like a child behind a tree. Father, I even assigned supervisors. How could they exploit the people? The Emperor slammed the branch into the ground. That's exactly the problem. If you didn't know, it means they fooled you. He glared. Are you going to tell me these pearls grew on trees? Right at that moment, a cheerful voice popped into the Emperor's mind. Mission perfectly completed. The Emperor froze. Shuyan Miao? Wait. The Emperor slowly turned to the prince. You asked Shuyan Miao to help you? The prince nodded desperately. Even if you don't believe me, believe little Bais. The Emperor sighed. You're right, pause, but I still feel like beating you. And beat him he did. Later, Shuyan Miao visited the Crown Prince, who now looked like a swollen dumpling wrapped in bandages. Your Highness, are you all right? The prince stared at him blankly. Do I look all right? If Shu Yanmiao hadn't explained everything in time, the Emperor might have crippled his other leg too. Meanwhile, Shu Yanmiao was grinding medicine and quietly thinking, why didn't he inspect the goods before dragging the Emperor there? The prince coughed awkwardly. He had simply been too excited. Soon they returned to the jewel house on Dragon Gate Mountain. The prince puffed his chest. Shu Lang made this house. I trust him. It definitely wasn't built by exploiting the people. Shu Yanmiao nodded seriously. Yes, the pearls are made from burned chicken bones and rat bones. What? Behind the bushes nearby, the Emperor and several ministers were secretly spying. The Minister of Revenue nearly fainted. Chicken bones can make jewels? If you stitch these into robes, you could sell them for 100,000 coins. The Emperor and Minister of Revenue immediately locked eyes. Instant silent agreement. 70% for the treasury, 30% for the imperial household. Sell them to nobles before they find out they're fake. Then export them overseas. Nearby ministers watched in horror as 3 grown men silently plotted a national jewelry scam. Meanwhile, Shu Yanmiao's next disaster was about to begin. The Emperor had appointed him chief examiner for the imperial examination. Shu Yanmiao bowed gratefully. Inside his head, I just want to be a salted fish. He was only 19, and now he had to write exam questions for scholars twice his age. This is like asking a teenager to write the National College entrance exam. After learning how the exams worked, Shu Yanmiao had a brilliant idea. Policy questions often targeted real scandals. So why not dig up gossip about the candidates? If someone abandoned his wife, question about loyalty. If someone bullied classmates, question about justice. If someone hid a marriage, question about law. Shu Yanmiao happily wandered the streets, eating a meat pie. Let's see which unlucky scholar I catch first. Right then, a grand sedan procession stopped in front of him. It was the official Ji Sui escorting his adopted son to the exam. Shu Yanmiao took one look at the young scholar, and his eyes filled with pity. Oh no, this guy picked the worst possible son. The next day in court, Shu Yanmiao's thoughts casually exposed everything. The kind scholar, Ji Sui adopted, actually a professional opportunist who had been auditioning multiple rich officials as potential fathers. He almost got adopted by 2 other governors before settling on Ji Sui. Why? Because Ji Sui had no son. Maximum inheritance potential. Officials tried desperately not to laugh. Ji Sui nearly fainted from rage. And somewhere in the palace, Shu Yanmiao was still happily eating snacks, completely unaware that his casual thoughts had once again detonated half the imperial court. Just another normal day for him. The whole mess started very peacefully with plum blossoms. In Ji Sui's garden in Luzhou, the wind carried the sweet smell of plum flowers everywhere. It should have been a beautiful scholarly scene. Except for one problem. Chickens. Every time Ji Sui calmly played the chin in his elegant plum garden, Qinzheng's chickens would wander in like they owned the place. Calmly playing music. Cluck, cluck, cluck. The chickens would respond to the music like they were part of the orchestra. A moment later, Qinzheng's panicked maids would come running in. Sorry. The chickens escaped again. Clearly, Qinzheng wanted nothing to do with Ji Sui's elegant lifestyle. But now, Ji Sui wasn't in Luzhou anymore. He was lying in his capital residence, wrapped in blankets, staring at the ceiling like a man whose life just rebooted. Because Qinzheng had just told him something shocking. Grandfather, I've chosen my own path. I'll help the Crown Prince recover and build my own future. Ji Sui went completely silent. For the first time in his life, he realized something terrifying. His granddaughter might not actually need him to plan her life. 3 days passed. Ji Sui stayed locked inside the house like a depressed hermit. Then on the 4th day, bang. An 88-year-old literary war machine named Quan Yizhang kicked the door open. Ji Sui, he barked. Have you heard? The Mao version of the Book of Songs is a forgery. Ji Sui slowly sat up like a man who had just been revived by pure academic rage. Oh? Explain. Instantly, the courtyard turned into a battlefield. Soon a group of scholars from the modern script school rushed in, looking like they had just lost a bar fight. Lord Ji, the ancient script school says the character for wheat proves our interpretation is wrong. Jisui frowned. Kuan Yizhang leaned on his cane smugly. Go on, he said, clearly expecting Jisui to fail. Instead, Jisui grabbed a brush. Bring paper. He calmly wrote the character lie. This represents wheat stalks, Jisui explained. Kuan Yizhang snorted. So you just proved my point. Jisui ignored him and wrote another character. Nai. Then he smiled. If the top means grain and the bottom means falling, doesn't that describe grain falling from heaven? The modern script scholars gasped. Kuan Yizhang's disciples turned pale. Jisui smirked. Perhaps instead of nitpicking annotations, Master Kuan should go home and study how many ways there are to write the character Hui. The modern script scholars almost cried with joy. Master Ji? But Kuan Yizhang wasn't done. He slammed his cane. Heaven? You mean the emperor? And just like that, round 2 began. The debate exploded into chaos. They quoted classics, argued philosophy, slammed tables, knocked over bowls, and at some point someone even pulled a sword. By midnight, the house looked like a battlefield. Kuan Yizhang finally stormed toward the exit. Then he paused. Without turning back, he said quietly, Jisui, you're the most talented man I've ever met. Jisui exhaled slowly. I'm just planning my future. Kuan Yizhang immediately exploded again. You bunch of rats! I'm ashamed to debate with you. Right then, a voice came from the wall. Wow, Master Kuan is really angry. Everyone looked up. A head was sticking over the wall. Shu Yanmiao, Kuan Yizhang nearly had a heart attack. You little brat, why are you everywhere? Shu Yanmiao coughed politely and climbed down. I was just passing by, enjoying the scholarly atmosphere. Kuan Yizhang rolled his eyes. Have you even studied the classics properly? Shu Yanmiao bowed sincerely. Thank you for the guidance, master. Kuan Yizhang froze. Inside his head, he thought, why is this kid so polite and so annoying at the same time? Shu Yanmiao had been sitting on the investigation results for a whole month. Not because the case was difficult, but because he wanted it to look difficult. So right before the Lunar New Year, he finally handed the report to the Minister of War like a hardworking hero. The minister barely glanced at it before sending it straight to the emperor. Half a day later, the rewards arrived. A palace eunuch announced proudly, His Majesty sends 5 bolts of brocade, 8 bolts of silk, and 8 bolts of cloth for Master Shu to make New Year clothes. Shu Yanmiao bowed. Thank you, Your Majesty. Then the eunuch opened a red box and revealed a jade pendant. With this, he added, smiling, you may enter the tiger courtyard freely. Shu Yanmiao's eyes lit up. Wait, I can visit the tigers whenever I want. Exactly. Thank you, Your Majesty. After the eunuchs left, Shu Yanmiao happily sorted the fabrics. Blue robe, white inner clothes, black shoes. Perfect. On his way out, he ran into the old granny next door who sold silk flowers. Back from the market, Granny? Sold almost everything, she said proudly, then eyed the cloth. Making new clothes? Yes. Nonsense. Give it to me. I'll sew it. Back in my day, I was the best seamstress in the village. You'll be the handsomest official in the capital. Shu Yanmiao blinked. Well, if you insist. Inside her house, her son, the deputy commander of the left army, was sneaking braised pork from a jar. His mother slapped his hand. Look at Master Shu. Young, favored by the emperor, working hard even before New Year, and you, just eating. The deputy commander laughed. Mother, he's not that formal. He washes his own clothes, cleans his house, even eats snacks on the street. He lives however he likes. The granny paused mid-scissor. Officials can live like that. Meanwhile, on the crowded New Year streets, Shu Yanmiao was dodging firecrackers thrown by a bunch of kids. Master Shu, someone shouted. A black carriage stopped. The Minister of War stuck his head out. Get in. Shu Yanmiao froze. No, don't tell me there's more work. His Majesty has a secret order. Inside the carriage was chaos. Documents everywhere, scrolls hanging off tables, even wonton wrappers scattered around. Shu Yanmiao peeked at the empty wrappers. Minister Li eats wontons, but only eats the filling? The Minister of War coughed violently and changed the subject. We need to negotiate with that exam candidate, convince him to change his ancestral record. Shu Yanmiao blinked. So we're just going to someone's house and say, hey, could you change your ancestors? That's definitely not getting us kicked out. When they finally met the scholar Gao He, the Minister of War placed 1 silver ingot on the table. We hope you'll cooperate. Gao He slammed the table. I am a scholar. Do you think my ancestors can be bought with money? Clink. A second ingot appeared. Gao He grew even angrier. My honor cannot be insulted like this. Shu Yanmiao thought quietly. Maybe add more money? Gao He shouted righteously. You should add more money. The Minister of War immediately slammed 10 ingots on the table. Gao He hugged the silver instantly. Say no more? From now on, you're not just friends. You're my ancestors. Shu Yanmiao stared in envy. Ah, the blessings of good ancestors.